My agency is a United Talent Agency, and someone there discovered a young man in San Francisco who was writing a comic book out of his home, and his name was Angus Oblong. My agent, Gary Cosset, knows that I'm a big comic book aficionado, and he also knows that I have a very bizarre sensibility, hence the Drew Carey Show, I know him. He thought I'd be interested in seeing these, so he sent me copies of the books.
My biggest influence for the Creepy Susie book, and thus the Oblongs, was Dick and Jane. I wanted to write tales that were like Dick and Jane. See Dick run, see Jane fall, see Jane bleed, see Dick cry. I thought that would be funny, so when I wrote the tales in the Creepy Susie book, that's pretty much what they are. They're just deformed, miserable Dick and Jane characters. And then that turned into the Oblongs.
They were really wonderful and very bizarre, like, kind of like Gain Wilson or Charles Addams, and in that kind of vein. The characters were very bent and weird.
Bruce Helford and I had the same sensibilities, same sense of humor. His input was really funny. He came up with some of the better jokes that ended up in the show. The original concept for the Oblongs was, it was about Milo and his friends, the Clubhouse Kids. Helga, Susie, Peggy, Milo and Mikey, and his little sister Beth. The network took me aside and said that it should be about the family. We should concentrate more on Pickles, Bob, the twins, Milo and Beth.
It's set in a place called Hill Valley, which consists of hills and a valley. Our heroes, the Oblongs, live in this toxic valley, which is sort of responsible for their various problems and abnormalities. And the rich, beautiful people live in the hills and run all the factories, and they're above the pollution. But the interesting thing is that they're emotionally and spiritually challenged. I mean, they don't have much heart, whereas the people who live in the valley, because they're sort of forced to overcome these difficulties and sort of stick together, are loving, good people.
Everybody's got, you know, some weird physical deformity that should be inhibiting them from leading a normal life, but they're just moving on. They all have values and morals at heart. It's just really sweet-natured, I think.
I think it takes things one step further. I mean, you know, because of this situation we've set up with the haves and have-nots, we're able to do even more, I think, with social satire.
There are definite political overtones to this show that I hope people will pick up on and appreciate.
It's a reflection, but a carnival mirror reflection of society, I guess.
Cool cloud ride!
When Angus first created the characters, he was just creating people who were underdogs. And I think that he was really intrigued by the visual possibilities. So we've got to do something that requires animation. There are too many animated shows out there right now that could have been done with human beings with just some kind of a skew to their attitudes. The Oblongs are all characters who are mutated because of their horrible environment. With that, they really require animation. There aren't enough people to go to who are armless and legless actors who might be able to play Bob, or little girls with big tumors sticking out of their head like Beth.
In the process of casting live, you are really looking at the entire actor. You're looking at them physically, you're looking at them facially, you're looking at what they bring once they start to perform. But you instantly make a judgment on who the person is the minute they walk in the room. It's not fair, but it's the way it works. Doing animation, you never look at the actors. It's so specific that it makes it easier to do, because you really are just focused on the vocal quality, and then the energy, I think, is the best way to explain it, that the actor may bring.
I've seen driver's side airbags, but I've never seen a driver's side dork bag.
Bruce Helford and Deborah Oppenheimer sent me the script of the Oblongs. I looked at the drawings. I was halfway through the script and called up Bruce and Deb and said, I'm in. I definitely want to do this project. I haven't even finished it. I don't care how it ends. I just want to be. This is too much fun.
The father is Bob, and Bob has no arms or legs, and still functions perfectly normally.
Bob existed in the original self-published 13 books. He was Creepy Susie's father. I like Bob's character because he's an upbeat 1950s, very positive dad with no arms and no legs.
We read a lot of guys to do the Bob role. And that was a very difficult role because there needed to be a twinkle, and you had to love this character who had no limbs, who hopped around and was eternally optimistic. And a lot of actors who were very good actors, it was just dull. There was nothing, there was no spark, there was nothing special about it. And when we did Will Ferrell, it came alive, and you felt like you wanted to know him. All of a sudden, Bob wasn't this funny-looking little person.
Yeah, large-breasted, full-hipped woman who craves a spanking.
He was like a really cool guy.
Bob Oblong, you're a genius.
Oh, not a genius, dear. I'm just a little man trying to do big things.
The mother is Pickles. She originally came from a part of town that wasn't polluted and toxic. But when she married Bob, she lost all her hair and she's bald and wears a wig.
You got pretty hair.
Enjoy.
Gene came into the studio along with several other people, but Gene was the purest and the best and the most real.
I think as a mother, Pickles is probably a terrific mother if her children survive it through the day.
Oops, that's Mommy's juice.
She's a tad negligent.
Pickles, did you forget Beth again?
I could have sworn she drove us home.
And there's Milo, and Milo has mostly one eye open, one eye closed a lot of the time, and he's borderline psychotic, a very hyperactive kid with lots of visions and delusions, but a really sweet heart.
Milo in the book is me as a child, mentally deranged on all kinds of medication. Maybe he's a genius, you can't tell.
Milo was a long search. We read lots of people, a lot of women, more than we read guys, because women, young women, seem to be able to do boys' voices a lot easier. The minute Pam read, there's a moment when you know you've got it, when it's just magical and everything about the character comes to life. And that's what happened with Pam.
Okay, next up, Michael Wong's bar mitzvah. I don't want to miss the cantor. He sings like a dream.
There's Biff and Chip, who are conjoined twins.
We actually hired twins. We hired the Sklar brothers, and it was perfect to do twins because they could just, I don't know, it all just worked. It was just sort of magical when they came in and did it.
Oh, your leg, Doofus! Oh, God!
16-year-old Siamese twins who are kind of balls of testosterone. My character, Biff, is gay, but he doesn't know it. They're latent homosexual tendencies, and so... For Biff, and Chip is not.
Well, I'm not quitting wrestling. Great. Last year, I got a ruptured disc, and I'm not even on the team. Are you calling me a homo? What? Yes, you are.
And there's little Beth.
She has an unfortunate, or fortunate, depending on how you look at it, growth coming out of her head that she has to put salve on.
Can I live with you too, mister?
No.
Is it because of this?
Why, yes. Yes, it is.
She's very sweet, but she's a big tattletale. She tells on everybody at every opportunity. Daddy has a magazine with naked ladies hugging.
There's creepy Susie, who seems to float, and she's a very depressed little girl.
She's sort of a 10-year-old goth.
Like me, your only crime is enthusiasm.
While Jeannie Elias was reading for Creepy Susie, she was doing a great job, and Bruce Helford asked her to read the part in French, and she did, and we laughed, and the next thing you knew, Susie was French.
I'd like to think she's from Paris, but you don't know. And she's quite serious about life, very involved with death. Death makes her very happy. Drowning is my third favorite way to die, but they are all good.
I play Peggy, the girl with no jaw. Peggy drools all the time because she doesn't have a bottom jaw.
Becky in the audition was great because she literally did her reading as though she had no lower jaw, so that after every audition, she was completely saturated with spit. And the day of the table read, the first table read before they shot the first episode, a lot of people come. It was more than the suits, and the production crew was all there, all those folk. And they were hysterical watching her because she was sort of all dressed up. Had this pretty light green sweater on that by the end of the half hour was completely just much darker green.
Clean up on aisle 7. She's out. How could anybody walk out of an adorable little waif like me?
I loved Helga the minute I saw her, and the minute I saw her, I said to everybody, it has to be Leah Delaria.
Helga talks like this. I'm not a sir. I'm a beautiful little girl. Very demure little girl. Never gave back! Lot of attitude.
I'm the owner, Anita Bidet, and you are one aerodynamic little peckerwood.
It actually was the Billy West show, pretty much. I mean, there were all the regulars, and then Billy West was the rest of the piece.
I play Bob Oblong's boss, George Clymer.
Oblong!
Then there's the voice of James.
Is it Friday yet?
He's sort of a sad sack. He's always asking Bob if he wants to do things after work.
And then there's Anita Bidet. I play this character, and she runs a bar room. She. I use the term loosely.
Uh-oh. Don't you ever talk to Coach like that.
The writers and I bumped heads in the beginning. I had a different vision than everyone else, and I would say only 10% of my vision got through. I had left the writer's room, never to return. I went to the animation house, and I started working with the directors, the animators, supervising director, the storyboard artists. I oversaw the animation there, and then I was genuinely happy. During the time that the Oblongs was being animated and developed, there were at least 8 other animated shows out there that were being produced that didn't make it on TV. We were thrilled to have aired. The best thing about it was seeing the characters actually on TV, moving, walking, talking. It was a thrill.
When it's right, when all the pieces have come together, it's a wonderful feeling, because you succeeded, you scored, you did what you're supposed to do.
So you're saying I should marry Dad?
You just ruined what could have been a very poignant family moment.
I had heard that the show got canceled online from an online fan. I emailed him back and said, no, the Oblongs isn't canceled. I would know. When the show ended, I was both disappointed and relieved. Disappointed, obviously, because my show had been canceled, and relieved because it was a constant uphill battle to get my ideas across. It ended up being a pretty good show. I'm not dissing the show, but it's not my show.
I should have trained harder. Hey, winning isn't everything. At least we had fun.
I think if the show was created now, based on where we are in this country, I think it would have a better shot, and it may be why people are watching it, particularly young people are watching it, responding to it in such a way. With all the things that have happened to these people, all their problems, the fact that they would still have sex and get into bed and still be really, like, cool with each other, it was always positive. These were a cool group of people. I want to know these people.
Now I could go for a drink.
Come on, bring the whole family. I just made a pitcher of margaritas.
Okay, but no salt. That stuff will kill you.